Tom Cruise appeared on The View for what was expected to be a friendly conversation about his latest movie, but tensions quickly rose as Joy Behar asked a pointed question about his personal life. Tom initially responded politely, but the remark seemed to catch him off guard. The audience sensed an immediate shift in energy, signaling that this interview might turn more serious and emotional than anyone anticipated. Joy, known for her bold interviewing style, pressed Tom on rumors circulating about his career decisions and personal life. Tom smiled briefly, attempting to redirect the conversation toward his film projects, but Joy persisted. The audience watched as a subtle tension built, with Tom's polite demeanor slowly giving way to visible frustration, his body language stiffening and jaw tightening. The confrontation escalated when Joy brought up past controversies in Tom's career. Though her tone was light-hearted, the questions touched sensitive territory. Tom's eyes narrowed slightly, signaling irritation. He attempted to answer diplomatically, emphasizing his work and accomplishments, but Joy's follow-up question seemed to challenge him personally, pushing the conversation into uncomfortable territory. The audience noticed the energy shift as Tom began to speak more forcefully. His responses were measured but carried unmistakable edge. Joy attempted to interject with humor to lighten the moment, but Tom's tone remained serious. The back and forth became increasingly tense, leaving viewers on edge and unsure if the interview could return to a casual, friendly atmosphere. At one point, Joy questioned Tom's decisions in choosing certain film roles, implying that some choices were controversial. Tom leaned forward, his voice rising slightly, insisting that every decision in his career was carefully considered. The confrontation became more intense, with Joy refusing to back down and Tom visibly struggling to maintain composure. Tom's frustration became evident as he emphasized his dedication to his craft. He explained that his choices, whether on screen or in his personal life, were guided by careful consideration and professional commitment. Joy continued questioning, and the tension in the studio grew, with both the audience and fellow hosts becoming noticeably uncomfortable. Trying to regain control, Joy shifted the topic to Tom's philanthropic work. Tom responded briefly but appeared unwilling to continue speaking until the initial line of questioning was addressed. The audience could sense a silent standoff as both parties held firm, neither willing to retreat from the conversation. The confrontation intensified when Joy raised the topic about Tom's recent public statements, suggesting they were divisive. Tom's response became sharper, insisting that his statements were misinterpreted. He explained that media narratives often distort the truth, causing unnecessary controversy. The studio felt the tension spike as cameras focused on Tom's firm expression. Tom then expressed that the line of questioning felt invasive and unfair. He attempted to redirect the conversation toward his film and charitable efforts, but Joy pressed further, reiterating her earlier points. Tom's patience appeared to be running thin, with his body language showing defensive posturing, signaling the beginning of an emotional outburst. Joy attempted to defend her questions, stating that the audience had a right to be informed. Tom, however, was increasingly frustrated, telling her that some topics were personal and off-limits. The back and forth grew louder, with both participants speaking over one another at times, leaving the atmosphere tense and awkward for viewers and staff alike. As the interview continued, Tom's tone escalated. He emphasized that his personal life should not overshadow his professional work. Joy pressed again, prompting Tom to raise his voice slightly, expressing that repeated probing into private matters was inappropriate and unnecessary on live television. The tension became palpable for everyone in the studio. At this point, the audience shifted in their seats, sensing that the conversation was nearing a breaking point. Tom leaned back briefly, took a deep breath, and tried to respond calmly. He reminded Joy that his intention was to discuss his career and achievements, not to be criticized or judged on personal matters. Joy, however, remained persistent, suggesting that the public had curiosity about his off-screen decisions. Tom's patience finally wore thin. He interrupted, stating firmly that the repeated questioning was disrespectful. His voice carried unmistakable anger, signaling that the confrontation had reached its peak. The tension skyrocketed when Tom emphasized that interviews should focus on accomplishments and projects rather than personal controversies. He leaned forward and gestured with his hands, making it clear he was no longer willing to continue the discussion in its current tone. Joy attempted to respond, but Tom cut her off, his frustration palpable. Tom's body language became more assertive as he told Joy that the questions were inappropriate for a daytime audience. The audience murmured quietly, sensing the heated exchange was becoming more than a simple disagreement. Tom maintained eye contact in a firm tone, demonstrating that he would not allow the conversation to be steered into uncomfortable territory. Joy attempted to lighten the moment with humor, but Tom's expressions showed no amusement. He repeated that he would not entertain questions about private matters that had already been addressed publicly. The atmosphere grew more charged, leaving fellow hosts and staff visibly uneasy as they tried to manage the unfolding confrontation. Tom then emphasized the importance of respecting boundaries in interviews. He stated that the focus should be on work, art, and meaningful achievements, not speculation or personal attacks. His voice was controlled but firm, underscoring that he had reached his limit in the exchange with Joy Behar. Joy, sensing the intensity, attempted to apologize or soften her approach, but Tom remained adamant. He insisted that continued questioning along the same lines was unproductive. The studio audience and viewers at home were riveted, witnessing an unusually tense confrontation on live television. Tom's frustration grew as Joy continued to push gently for clarification. He reiterated that personal topics were off-limits, emphasizing his commitment to professional conversation. His tone was sharp but measured, showing that while he was upset, he remained articulate and composed under pressure. At a crucial point, Tom raised his voice slightly to assert that he would no longer engage in questions that felt invasive. Joy attempted to respond, but Tom's body language and tone indicated that he was ready to end the interview entirely if the confrontation persisted. Tom's outburst became more pronounced as he expressed disappointment over what he felt was sensationalism disguised as curiosity. He explained that interviews should be respectful and informative, not provocative or inflammatory. The tension in the studio was palpable, with production staff looking concerned as the confrontation escalated. Joy attempted to clarify her intentions, stating that her questions were aimed at audience interest rather than confrontation. Tom, however, was no longer receptive to explanation. He made it clear that repeated probing into private matters was unacceptable, and his frustration was visible to all present. The heated exchange reached a boiling point when Tom firmly told Joy that he would not answer further personal questions. He gestured toward the camera, emphasizing that the focus should be on his professional work. The audience reacted audibly, some clapping, some gasping at the intensity of the live moment. Tom then took a deep breath, pausing to collect himself, but the anger in his expression remained evident. He stated that he valued respect and meaningful dialogue, and that invasive questioning violated those principles. The confrontation had clearly taken an emotional toll, and both hosts recognized the severity of the moment. The audience remained silent, sensing that the exchange might end abruptly. Tom leaned back and shook his head, signaling he had reached the limit of his tolerance. Joy's tone became softer, attempting to salvage the discussion, but Tom had made it clear that the interview would not continue along the same confrontational path. At this point, Tom stood from his chair, signaling that he was prepared to leave the set. Joy attempted to interject, but he walked toward the edge of the stage, maintaining a firm stance. The studio staff quickly moved to ensure he exited safely, while cameras captured the dramatic conclusion of the heated confrontation. Tom paused briefly as he moved, turning slightly to address the audience. He reiterated that respect and professionalism are paramount during interviews. His words conveyed frustration but also a clear boundary, leaving viewers with the impression that his exit was principled rather than impulsive. The studio fell into stunned silence as Tom walked off the set. Joy Behar appeared momentarily taken aback, and the remaining hosts and staff worked quickly to transition to commercial. The audience at home and in the studio were left processing the intensity of confrontation rarely seen on daytime television. Behind the scenes, production staff attempted to assess what had triggered the outburst. Conversations took place between producers, hosts, and Tom's team to clarify misunderstandings and ensure future interviews would avoid similar conflicts. The moment quickly became a topic of discussion across social media platforms. Clips of Tom's explosive confrontation with Joy Behar went viral almost immediately. Fans and media outlets debated the legitimacy of the questions, Tom's reaction, and the tone of the show. The incident became a defining moment in daytime television history, demonstrating that even well-known celebrities have limits when it comes to personal boundaries on live TV. Following the incident, the media frenzy intensified. News outlets dissected every word, body gesture, and facial expression. Social media exploded with clips, GIFs, and reactions, some supportive of Tom for standing his ground, others critical of what they perceived as overreaction. The story dominated trending topics for days, capturing the public's fascination with celebrity confrontations. Fans and critics debated whether Joy had crossed the line or whether Tom should have remained composed. Twitter threads and comment sections were flooded with opinions dissecting each part of the heated exchange. Analysts noted that the clip's virality was fueled by its authenticity, and viewers rarely witness such raw emotion on live daytime television. Television commentators invited communication experts to break down the confrontation. Many explained how tension escalated due to conflicting expectations. Tom sought to promote his work, while Joy prioritized provocative questioning. Experts highlighted that even minor triggers can quickly spiral into highly charged interactions under the pressure of live broadcasting. Tom's team released a statement later the same day. It emphasized that he appreciated meaningful discussions but found the line of questioning intrusive and disrespectful. They framed his departure as an effort to protect professional integrity, reinforcing that he had no intent to disrespect anyone personally, merely to avoid sensationalized confrontation. Behind the scenes, The View's production team analyzed what had gone wrong. They considered adjusting interview strategies to prevent future escalations. Discussions focused on balancing journalistic inquiry with guest comfort, acknowledging that even experienced hosts can misjudge emotional thresholds during high-stakes interviews. Joy Behar also addressed the event privately, expressing surprise at Tom's intensity. Though she maintained her style of asking bold questions, she admitted in interviews that the confrontation highlighted the need for sensitivity when discussing personal matters on live television. The interaction became a professional lesson for both parties. Media outlets began compiling best of the confrontation clips, which quickly went viral. GIFs of Tom's gestures and facial expressions circulated widely, generating memes and discussion forums. The public engagement highlighted society's fascination with celebrity vulnerability, particularly when stars confront unexpected challenges live on air. Analysts pointed out that such confrontations can be career-defining moments. Tom's decision to exit the interview showcased assertiveness and boundary setting, while Joy's approach underscored her reputation for bold commentary. Each party's choices became case studies in media relations, illustrating the delicate balance between curiosity and provocation. Some fans sympathized with Tom's perspective, arguing that public figures are entitled to privacy and should not be subjected to invasive questioning for entertainment. Others defended Joy, asserting that transparency and accountability are vital when discussing individuals with wide-reaching influence. The polarized public debate fueled ongoing coverage. Late-night talk shows quickly referenced the confrontation, with comedians parodying the heated exchange. Sketches exaggerated Tom's expressions and gestures, amplifying the drama while adding humor. While Tom remained focused on promoting his film, the public humor surrounding the incident further cemented the confrontation's place in pop culture. Marketing analysts noted an unexpected side effect: the viral clip drove increased attention to Tom's film. Searches, trailers, and ticket sales spiked as audiences became curious about the project that sparked such a heated conversation. While controversy is rarely planned, It inadvertently boosted interest in his work. The situation prompted conversations about the emotional strain celebrities face. Experts highlighted that repeated exposure to probing questions can trigger defensive responses, particularly when interviews touch personal or sensitive topics. Tom's reaction was framed as a human response to pressure rather than an unprofessional outburst. Social media debates focused on the emotional intelligence displayed by both parties. Tom's assertiveness in defending boundaries received praise, while Joy's persistence was criticized or applauded depending on perspective. The clash became a teaching example for those studying communication strategies and public interactions under stress. Network executives convened meetings to assess potential fallout. They weighed whether the incident would harm ratings or reputations. Ultimately, they concluded that, while tense, the confrontation generated substantial engagement, which is often viewed favorably in terms of audience retention and publicity. Meanwhile, interviews with cast members and colleagues of Tom provided context, highlighting his dedication to craft and professionalism. They noted that, while passionate, he generally maintains calm demeanor. Observers concluded that the confrontation was an exceptional case rather than a reflection of his usual behavior. Analysts also highlighted the role of audience perception in live television. The studio crowd's reactions to gasps, murmurs, and subtle applause amplified the tension. Social media users echoed these reactions online, creating a feedback loop where public opinion intensified the scrutiny of the exchange. Entertainment journalists speculated whether the confrontation would impact future guest appearances. While many predicted Tom would carefully select interviews, others argued that his assertiveness could redefine how celebrities manage boundaries with talk show hosts, influencing industry norms. Joy Behar's approach was scrutinized, with discussions about balancing bold questioning with empathy. Critics suggested that overly provocative lines can backfire, alienating guests and polarizing audiences. The incident prompted broader debates about ethical interviewing practices in daytime television. Behind-the-scenes footage and interviews later revealed that producers had initially warned Joy to tread lightly. Despite the caution, the questions escalated tension, illustrating how live broadcasts remain unpredictable and difficult to control even with extensive planning. Fans dissected every moment of the confrontation frame by frame. Analysts broke down Tom's gestures, posture, and tone, creating detailed timelines of the emotional escalation. The viral interest in body language and micro-expressions highlighted society's fascination with reading human reactions under pressure. Tom's public image received mixed reviews. While some praised his assertiveness, others questioned whether the confrontation could be perceived as overreaction. Regardless, the incident drew attention to his professionalism, emphasizing that even in heated moments, he communicated clearly and stood firm on personal boundaries. Interviews with communication experts emphasized the importance of preparation. Tom's team likely briefed him on potential questions, but the unpredictability of Joy's approach tested his patience. Experts noted that celebrities must balance composure with assertiveness, a skill that Tom demonstrated in exiting gracefully while asserting limits. The confrontation became fodder for podcasts and talk shows. Hosts dissected the exchange, debating whether Joy's persistence or Tom's reaction was more justifiable. Multiple perspectives provided insights into media ethics, celebrity privacy, and the emotional dynamics of live television. Media analysts also highlighted gender dynamics and public expectations. Some discussions noted that male and female celebrities often face different scrutiny levels during interviews, which may shape audience perception of assertiveness, anger, and professionalism. Several think pieces examined the impact of live television on mental health. Experts argued that celebrities constantly navigating public scrutiny can experience stress spikes, making heated responses more likely. Tom's walk-off was framed as a human reaction to overwhelming pressure rather than impulsive anger. Joy later commented on the incident in interviews, acknowledging that Tom's reaction was understandable. She emphasized that her intention was not personal attack but journalistic inquiry. Her acknowledgement contributed to a softened narrative in the media, highlighting mutual respect despite the heated exchange. Social media sentiment gradually shifted from shock to analysis. Fans began discussing what could be learned from the confrontation, including the importance of setting boundaries, maintaining professionalism, and responding calmly under pressure. The incident was repurposed as an educational example for both journalists and entertainers. Tom's subsequent interviews reflected lessons from the confrontation. He appeared more measured, focusing strictly on promoting his projects while steering conversations away from personal topics. Analysts praised his refined approach, noting that the incident shaped his public communication strategy positively. Joy and Tom were later invited to participate in a mediated discussion on professional communication. While the meeting was brief, both acknowledged the event's intensity and agreed on the importance of understanding boundaries and expectations. The reconciliation highlighted how conflicts can lead to growth and insight. Fan forums revisited the confrontation frequently, often comparing it to other high-profile celebrity walk-offs. Discussions centered on emotional triggers, interview tactics, and the ethics of provocative questioning. The incident became a case study for communication students and aspiring journalists. Entertainment magazines ran feature articles dissecting the viral clip. They explored both the emotional and professional dimensions, highlighting Tom's assertiveness and Joy's journalistic style. The analysis emphasized how live television magnifies human reactions, making small disagreements appear dramatically larger. Industry insiders commented that the incident might influence future talk show interviews. Celebrities could now feel empowered to set boundaries or exit uncomfortable situations, while hosts may adjust techniques to maintain civility while pursuing meaningful questions. The viral clip inspired meme culture and satirical videos, blending humor with fascination. Internet creators exaggerated facial expressions and gestures, making the moment iconic in pop culture. Tom's professionalism amid frustration was often portrayed as relatable, humanizing a globally recognized star. Analysts noted that while the confrontation was intense, it did not damage Tom's career. His films continued to perform well, and the incident was viewed as a display of integrity and assertiveness, reinforcing his reputation as someone who protects personal and professional boundaries. Fans revisited the event when discussing celebrity interviews, using it as an example of how to manage tension. The incident became a teaching tool, emphasizing emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and strategic communication in high-pressure public environments. Joy Behar's style was re-evaluated by media critics, who emphasized the fine line between engaging questioning and provocation. Experts suggested that daytime television could evolve by balancing entertainment with sensitivity, preventing unnecessary escalation. Tom's team was praised for their strategic handling of the aftermath. Public statements were professional, measured, and clarified his position without fueling further conflict. The incident became an example of effective crisis management in celebrity media relations. The confrontation's ripple effect influenced other talk shows, prompting hosts to prepare better for high-profile guests. Producers emphasized understanding guest boundaries while still engaging audiences, recognizing that unpredictable moments could either captivate or alienate viewers. The public fascination endured for months, especially online, where clips were continually shared, discussed, and analyzed. Fans dissected every nuance, creating viral compilations that drew attention back to both Tom and Joy. The moment became a persistent pop culture reference. Analysts argued that the incident demonstrated the importance of context and communication. What might seem like a heated outburst can be a rational defense of personal and professional boundaries. Tom's response highlighted assertiveness, professionalism, and clarity under pressure. Discussions on celebrity mental health referenced Tom's reaction, noting that live television exposes individuals to intense scrutiny. Experts suggested that public understanding of emotional strain could foster empathy towards celebrities who respond strongly in high-pressure situations. Tom's subsequent interviews reflected strategic learning. He controlled the narrative, focusing exclusively on positive topics and avoiding personal matters. His measured demeanor garnered praise for emotional intelligence and professionalism, transforming the initial confrontation into a career-strengthening moment. Joy also adapted her style, incorporating insights from the confrontation. She acknowledged in interviews the value of respecting personal boundaries, balancing tough questioning with sensitivity, which enhanced her credibility and audience respect. The event became part of celebrity media training programs, illustrating how live television can escalate rapidly. Coaches used the clip to teach conflict navigation, emotional regulation, and assertive communication, showing aspiring journalists and performers the importance of preparation and awareness. Ultimately, Tom Cruise's explosive confrontation with Joy Behar became an iconic television moment. It demonstrated the delicate balance between journalistic inquiry and celebrity boundaries, offering lessons in professionalism, emotional intelligence, and public perception, cementing its place in pop culture history.